Matt Gaetz and his continued narrative that somehow critical race theory is the greatest evil in the world, not the terrorist, not the ideology that led to it, but in fact, a advanced theoretical study that's typically taught in advanced level college courses. That's the great evil. But somebody handed him his behind at an official meeting, and it was beautiful to watch. General Mark Milley, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the nation's highest ranking military officer, defended the US military against the Republicans' criticism of being woke. I hope people understand, if you're woke, that means you're not asleep. I don't know if they get that or not. So Milley fired back at lawmakers, especially Representative Matt Gaetz. Now, keep in mind, Matt Gaetz is the poster child for the phrase, "You need to take several seats." This guy is literally being investigated by the federal government for trafficking an underage child or children, and for using cocaine and having some kind of pay for play scheme. And damn, the caucasity is unbelievable with this guy. And he has the nerve to drill generals of the US military about their own philosophy and ideology and value system. Ladies and gentlemen, you don't believe privilege exists? Matt Gaetz got it handed to him on this day. Let me take you to the first video.
On the issue of critical race theory, et cetera, I'll obviously have to get much smarter on whatever the theory is. But I do think it's important, actually, for those of us in uniform to be open-minded and be widely read. And the United States Military Academy is a university. And it is important that we train and we understand, and I wanna understand white rage, and I'm white, and I wanna understand it. So what is it that caused thousands of people to assault this building and try to overturn the Constitution of the United States of America? What caused that? I want to find that out. I want to maintain an open mind here, and I do want to analyze it. It's important that we understand that, because our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians, they come from the American people. So it is important that the leaders, now and in the future, do understand it. I've read Mao Zedong. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Lenin. That doesn't make me a communist. So what is wrong with understanding, having some situational understanding about the country for which we are here to defend? And I personally find it offensive that we are accusing the United States military, our general officers, our commissioned, non-commissioned officers, of being, quote, woke or something else, because we're studying some theories that are out there. That was started at Harvard Law School years ago, and it proposed that there were laws in the United States, antebellum laws prior to the Civil War, that led to a power differential with African Americans that were 3/4 of a human being when this country was formed. And then we had a Civil War and Emancipation Proclamation to change it. And we brought it up to the Civil Rights Act in 1964. It took another 100 years to change that. So look, I do want to know.
Damn, and he was not there to answer that question. He knew this knowledge because he did something called research, study. He decided to read up on it, unlike people like Matt Gaetz. Remember, critical race theory is not taught in K through 12 education. It is an advanced theoretical framework. It is being utilized as a fake pretext in order to provide a context to stop K through 12 educators from teaching children about the truth of racism. That's what it actually does. Matt Gaetz shaking his head at this general for telling him the dogmatic truth. Wosny?
You know, I think the general summed it up quite eloquently there. That was impressive, honestly. He just basically broke it down like, why would I not want to know about the people who we're protecting, and both we're protecting them and they make up the population of the armed services? Why would I not want to know everything about the backgrounds and the thought processes of these people? That was just beautifully and eloquently said. What I do want to talk about, Rashad, is, man, conservatism has lost its damn way. Because if the January 6th thing is now being called a conspiracy by the FBI, that's a one. So now you guys are anti-cop. That's one of the pillars of conservatism. We love the damn police. So now y'all anti-cop and y'all anti-military now too? You don't like the cops or the military? Like they have no ideological incoherence whatsoever. This is baffling to me that in the same week Louis Gohmert comes out on the floor and he perpetuates a preposterous conspiracy theory, the next week you got a lightweight, not even just inexperienced intellectually, and as you mentioned, you got them boys on your head now, boy. You got the boys is after you now. You trafficking all kinds of people, doing all kinds of things at all kinds of sex parties, right? Now they on top of you. You're going after generals in the military, the people who pay the ultimate sacrifice, the people who we call our heroes. They're lost. They lost their way, Rashad.
This is really ironic, right? Because right now what you literally have is a Republican Party that is becoming a mirror reflection of the ideology of Donald Trump. And what is Trump's ideology? He has no true ideology. It's all over the place, just like you described. So let me get this right. Republicans are now anti-Capitol Police. They are anti-FBI. They are anti-US military. And they are anti-investigating crimes against the United States government. This is who they are today. And this is what I call political schizophrenia, because there is no way possible this kind of ideology could make sense to someone who's actually sane.
Yeah, it's been happening for a while, right? The party has slowly but surely been ceding power to what used to be considered the quote unquote fringe of the right wing. These guys are now at the seat of power. It's no longer your Romney types, your Jeb Bush types, your George Bush types, or even your Newt Gingrich types, who's very responsible for this crazy strain. We saw it when John McCain let Sarah Palin be his running mate, and everybody's like, I thought John McCain was a sensible one. He was already giving it up to the lunatic fringe. We saw it when, all of a sudden the black guy comes into office and we start talking about tightening our belts with loose and reckless spending. We know the dog whistles. Yeah. We know what's going on about whenever you hear frivolous spending from a certain type of white person, they talking about welfare. You know what they talking about. And so slowly but surely they've ceded so much power to the people that used to be considered the fringe. And now it's basically a tail is wagging the dog. And that's why somebody as serious as a General Milley, he finds himself in front of Congress answering questions posed by the likes of Matt Gaetz.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, quite.